CIS-332, okay, we're talking now week 7 and 8. Got the dates. I'm actually creating this here towards the end of March. It's actually 3/25 today. Okay, let's get started. Some more things. We're talking about relational databases, relationships. We're starting to talk a lot about developing entities, and from entities we create a table. The table has attributes that can be in any order and tuples that can be in any order. Tuples often are referred to as records, and then we have these attributes. These attributes about these records. Okay? We're going to talk more and more as we finish up the year talking about base tables. You can have unlimited tuples, but typically the attributes are set when you develop it. If you do a good job of setting up the database ahead of time, figuring out your entities, figuring out your attributes, that should be pretty set. We also have started talking about HTML and a little example of an index file, and we're going to slowly then develop using a browser to access our data. I've got 5 more slides to go. Here, I already talked about the base table. We made this comment about the attributes, the order, and tuples, and so forth. Some people will call these characters or the properties. Actually, going way back to Chin, the person who invented relational databases, he talked about the properties. Sometimes I use the word characteristics that will indicate, the different items here defining that entity. So, the domain is where you can select from for the characteristics. For example, if you're talking about what state somebody lives in, and we'll mention this on the next slide too, if we're talking about the United States, there is a domain that you can select from. We only have so many states, and there's a relationship there, right? You live in a state. Now, some people live in multiple states for tax purposes. I don't know how that all works. We're not going there today. Okay? The domain, what you can select from to fill this characteristic. And that really does make sense dealing with that. Gets a little less clear here, but for example, here we said what state somebody is born in. State or this would be a one-to-one relationship, and the domain would be limited, right? If we talk about like the United States. Here, just a reminder, in Work Server 2, I gave the public address, and you should have all that in your notes already. All right, got 3 more slides. Here's an example where we're starting to talk about relationships. Is it a one-to-one? Okay, for example, a person, when born, has a birthday. Unless the information is missing or wasn't recorded, and there's no way to look it up, okay, so in those cases it may not exist. Otherwise, those of us that know our birth date, this is a one-to-one, this is a one, each person has only one birth date. Does that make sense? But this birth date could belong to, right, thousands or millions of people. And we used the example of a student's taking a course, and with that course they get in financial aid. So we're making these relationships. So we're going to start to work more and more when we develop the diagrams for these. Is it these constraints, right? Cardinality of the attributes and how they match up between entities. Okay, so now we're making a whole shift. We're going over to talk a little bit about PHP, HTML, and how we can relate the two together. You can actually put this right here would be your PHP code written right within an HTML document. So in this class we need to teach you a little bit about VI. This is a text editor which allows you to edit text files, and you have to hit the insert to be able to insert information once you open VI and you open a file. The file name here. Escape to get out of that. WQ means write and then quit. Write the file and quit. If you do a Q exclamation point, it means quit without saving. One more sentence is done. This is what we're working on currently. And we'll be finishing this up in the next week. So here's a case we're talking about. I think this related to the CMT conference, and we have all these sessions going on that students can attend, or faculty or staff can attend. So we created some entities. We said non-students, here are the sessions, here are the students. So if we look at this diagram and look at some of the relationships. So we have attend a session. Students, according to the way we do it, 2 lines mean they must attend sessions. Okay? So each session can have one particular student in it, but a student can attend many sessions during the day because there's multiple sessions. But actually, there can be many students in a session, but each session, during each session period, if I should say, the time slot, the student must sign up for a session to attend. Then we have these non-session, non-student people. We need them to manage the session, and they can also attend the session. To manage, we have set up 1-to-1. For example, in here is Mr. Dirksen, and I'm set up to manage a session. Cold Wars, we called it. Now I could have a bunch of students help me with that, but that wasn't figured into here. So our concept here is to create diagrams. The underline means that's a primary key. Okay. We got student ID, primary key. Okay, and we set up the relationships between the two. All right. And that's it for this one.